one league that I forgot to include in my US Open Cup Sweet 16 proposal is NPSL. So to add NPSL, I decided to take away 2 teams from the USL Championship. So instead of USL Championship having 4 teams in my proposed Sweet 16 US Open Cup, USL Championship will have 2. And it's the 2 teams that make it to the championship. And the 2 teams, the 2 teams taken away from USL Championship will be replaced by the 2 NPSL teams that play in the NPSL Championship. So basically, MLS will have 4, the 2 teams that play in the MLS Cup title, and then the at-large teams, 2 at-large teams based on Supporter Shield rankings. USL Championship 2, NPSL 2, USL 1, 2, NISA 2, and amateurs will be 4. You have your national, basically the 2 teams that play in the National Amateur Cup, and 2 runner-ups, the next 2 at-large teams. Now, you may be wondering, well, why amateurs? Why you decide to give the amateurs 4 and USL Championship, NPSL, USL 1, and NISA only 2? Well, I just believe that the amateurs will benefit more from the exposure, because amateurs don't have streaming like USL. You can watch USL matches on ESPN Plus or YouTube. Amateurs, I strongly believe that if the finances, if the budget is taken care of properly, that amateurs can really make a lot of money off of this US Open Cup through exposure, through promotion. And what my proposed US Open Cup is that the matches will be played at one location. So you won't be traveling to one place for the first round and then having to go back home just to get back on the road again for the second round. During these 2 weeks, everybody will be at one central location for these 2 weeks. So that reduces travel costs. As a result of that, amateurs, who really needs the money most out of every league that participates in the US Open Cup, they could benefit the most. So that's why I propose 4 amateurs and USL, NPSL, and NISA 2, because amateurs can really use the money the most. Now you may be wondering, okay, but why 4 MLSs? Well, MLS is the highest league, and majority rules, majority wins. The key is the US Open Cup will not be interesting if MLS leaves. So therefore you gotta favorite them a little bit, just a little bit, just to make them happy, just to convince them not to leave. Because listen, the Leagues Cup is a big deal, and it's going to be a huge global brand within the next decade. And the success of the Leagues Cup could endanger the livelihood of US Open Cup, because once Leagues Cup become really big and start landing big TV deals separate from the regular MLS, you're going to have some MLS owners thinking, okay, what's the point of the US Open Cup? We're making a huge amount of money from Leagues Cup. Why should we still participate in US Open Cup? So, you gotta, your most powerful league in the country, you gotta cater to them a little bit. So yeah, that's why it's 4 MLS teams. the powerful leagues always get like the favoritism. It is what it is. It's life. I mean, is it fair? No, but that's just life. The best usually gets pleased the most. It is what it is. So, as I said in my blog, as I wrote in my blog, it'll be a 2-week dedication. Hopefully, all leagues will give the teams that participated in the U.S. Open Cup a 2-week break. And they will be able to know in advance this time. This will not be last minute to time, having to reschedule things last minute to times, because we'll already know who will be in the U.S. Open Cup before domestic leagues start. It will be the teams that played in the league's championships, the MLS Cup championships, the USL championships, the NISA's championships, the amateurs championships. And for MLS and amateurs, it'll be 2 additional runner-ups. So basically, for MLS, it'll be the top teams in the Supporter Shield rankings combined with the 2 teams that play in the MLS Championship. Amateurs, it'll basically be your top 4 teams that finishes the season. Your 2 teams that play in the National Championship, and then your 3rd and 4th place team. So teams will be able to prepare for the U.S. Open Cup in advance this time around with my proposed Sweet 16 U.S. Open Cup. So the first week, you have your first round. Games can be played on Thursday and Sunday. I suggest weekend because most people are free to watch games on weekend. So I suggest Thursday and Sunday. The 2 games are played. Your Sweet 16 played on a Thursday. Then your Elite 8 played on Sunday. And then the second week, you go straight to the Final Four on a Thursday and your title match on a Sunday. Bam, U.S. Open Cup finish. A lot of leagues are not interfered. You just go back to being dedicated to each team goes back to being dedicated to their domestic league. Single elimination still stays. There will not be any legs. This will not be like the CONCACAF Champions Cup. No legs. No 2 15-minute overtimes. I suggest that you apply MLS Next Pro rules. Just penalty kicks. Go straight to the penalty kicks. No 2 15-minute overtimes. Straight to penalty kicks. Neutral locations. I prefer western cities that are typically dry and warm throughout the year. So you want to, spring, and you don't have to deal with like hurricane season or blizzards, snowstorms, heavy rains, none of that. So that's why I suggest Los Angeles, San Diego, San Jose, and I would say Salt Lake City and Denver, but during the spring, that's a big question mark because those areas, it does snow at random times throughout the spring in those areas. So now I'll take those out. But here's one location that should possibly be considered. And I don't know what the pitch, I don't know what the turf is like over there. But the Sun Bowl in El Paso, that's another dry location. Now, I don't know what the pitch is like. I don't know if it's natural grass or turf. And I don't know what the field dimensions are like over there. But that could be a city that could be considered. Also, Phoenix, Arizona. You got the big stadium in Glendale in the Phoenix metro area. Maybe even Tucson, University of Arizona football stadium. But I don't know what the pitch is like. I don't know if it's natural grass. And the same for Arizona State. I don't know if those 2 colleges, if they have natural grass, and if the field dimensions, I don't know if it's 120 yards long and 70 yards wide, But the locations for the US Open Cup should definitely be at locations where you don't have to worry about rain a lot. You don't have to worry about snow a lot. You don't have to worry about hurricanes and tornadoes a lot. That's why I suggest the West. Now, if the US Open Cup takes place like in June or July, then you can go to different locations like in the Southeast, like Louisville or Tampa, or I would say MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. But that's what I suggest. So this is a breakdown of my US Open Cup Sweet 16 proposal. Let me know what you think. I want to read your comments, and I just want to know your perspective.